Have you ever wondered why it can be so hard to ask for things? There are two primary reasons. The first is that it's not that simple to actually know what we need. If you read the title of this video and thought, well, I don't actually know what I need. What do I even need? You're not alone. The second, it's not simple to ask for what we need in a way that can actually be received. So in this video, I'm going to outline how we can connect with what we really need and how we can express that using a simple statement that will increase the odds of actually having our needs met. The most direct way of connecting with what we really need is noticing what happens when that need isn't met, which is why we need to ask for it, right? Not getting our needs met causes uncomfortable emotions like frustration, anxiety, and loneliness. It causes uncomfortable body sensations like tension and heat and increased heart rate, maybe even some stuck and some heavy. And when we feel all of that discomfort, our brains want to try and make sense of why it's happening. This usually sounds like should or shouldn't. It's usually some kind of explanation about something being fair or unfair or right or wrong. And most commonly, it is about another person's actions or intent, or it's about something out there in the world. Rest in peace, Daniel Kahneman, the brilliant economist and psychologist whose Nobel Prize winning work brought awareness to just how quickly and unconsciously these stories tend to be whipped up in our minds to make sense of things. It's easier to respond, and we feel like we have some sense of control when things make sense. So of course our brains are doing this. Another shout out to Jonathan Haidt for his work in this same realm, which shows how these stories are moral evaluations, which is where that right and wrong and the should and shouldn't come up. My point here is to help us understand the difference between these thoughts and stories our brain is using to make sense of our emotions and the very real needs underneath it all that are not being met. So I'm going to walk us through a few basic needs that we commonly need others' help to get met, and how that can so quickly turn into some of these stories. I'm needing some appreciation for all of the hard work I've been doing around the house, and I haven't received that appreciation lately. My body starts to feel tense and even kind of heavy. My emotions are some frustration, some disconnection, maybe even some sadness. So my mind, naturally, to make sense of all of that, tells me that my partner doesn't appreciate me, or that my partner doesn't notice my hard work or doesn't care. Those stories help me to make sense of the discomfort that I'm experiencing. Again, very normal. It only becomes a problem when we mix up our basic needs with the other's actions or the other's intent, like our stories want us to. Imagine how the conversation might go if I'm trying to get some of that appreciation I need by saying, "Why don't you appreciate me?" Or, "Don't you even care how much work I do around the house? Do you think I get my needs met?" Now imagine a very different course of action. I notice the heaviness and the tension in my body. I notice the disconnection and the frustration in my emotional space. And I notice the story that my partner doesn't appreciate me. I sit with the discomfort of all of that for a few moments, just breathing and noticing all of it, until my heart rate is a little more regular and my body doesn't feel so heavy. Telling myself my partner doesn't appreciate me brings the discomfort right back, brings the heart rate right back up. So I can tell there's something not quite right with that. Hearing some appreciation would feel really good. So I tell my partner, "Hey, I'm feeling some tension and some disconnection, and it would be really helpful for me to hear that you appreciate all the stuff I've been doing around the house." You'd be surprised how well this gets received, because it turns out that our partners really love to help us get our needs met, as long as we are not making it about them or their intent, like our stories want to convince us. I'm going to demonstrate how some other basic needs can turn into these stories really quickly, just to build some vocabulary and some reference around that. So, for example, I am needing some connection. I'm feeling lonely and disconnected. So naturally I tell myself, they are too busy. We are too busy. They don't want the connection as much as I do. I don't want to disturb them or don't want to rock the boat. Another example, I am needing some clarity or some understanding. I'm feeling confused, uncertain. I very quickly start to tell myself, they don't want to understand. They don't want to help me understand. It doesn't matter as much to them. I should already know. Now here we see some of the biggest, most common stories that come up. And you can hear the unfairness in the stories, and we don't want to reject them. We just want to notice them. These stories of, I don't want to rock the boat, and I shouldn't be feeling or needing blank. These are very common, and they sit very deep in our nervous systems. So if you are experiencing some of that and aren't sure what to do about it, you can connect with me. I work with this very commonly in my practice. Check out the links below, and we can dig into some of those stories, why they come up, and how they manifest in your unique nervous system. So I'm going to finish this video with how to make this happen, how to put it all together, and ask for our needs to actually get them met. Number one, we check in with our current felt experience of not getting that need met. The body sensations, like tension and anxiety, the emotions, like frustration, loneliness, hurt, and of course those thoughts and stories that come up for us so quickly around not getting that need met. We then get to see the needs that are lurking underneath them. We might not be sure yet, but if we can tune in to that felt experience, the sensations, the emotions, and the stories, then we can look for the needs underneath all of that. Examples. I'm telling myself my partner doesn't appreciate me, that they don't care about all the work I've been doing around the house. That's a pretty clear indicator that I am needing some appreciation. Another example, I'm telling myself this story, trying to make sense of some of my own discomfort. We are too busy and don't have the time or energy to connect. That's also a pretty clear indicator that I am needing some connection with my partner, some quality time. Number three, when you are ready, make a simple statement about your feelings and your needs, just like the one we heard earlier. This is an objective, direct statement about what you are experiencing, the feelings and the needs. And then practice it. Write it down. Record it in a voice note. This is one of my go-to methods, or even say it in the mirror. And stay with that experience while you practice it. The discomfort will come up. A lot of what you're experiencing will intensify once you go to say this out loud or even write it down and read it to yourself. So keep breathing and practice it a few times. There's no need to go in blind. And number four is a bonus for you, a basic template for initiating this conversation about getting your needs met. Here it goes. Hey, I'd like to talk about something that would be very helpful for me. Is now a good time? This is very simple and direct. It communicates the importance of what I want to talk about without any shame, without any blame, and also asking if this is a good time makes space for us to reschedule or postpone this conversation. It doesn't put the pressure on us to have the conversation to get my need met right now. It's much easier to receive it without shame, the blame, and the pressure. An important note here is that we need to be ready to postpone or reschedule the conversation. If this person says, it's actually not a good time right now, then you say, okay, how about after dinner? You need to be ready for that because that will also trigger some discomfort. I hope this has been helpful. To go deeper and get more specific, more nuanced strategies for your best communication, you can join me in an open and welcoming group setting. My Connected Conversations group is now open and enrolling. You can find the link below. Get on down there and comment with your thoughts and questions as well. And as always, let your heart do the talking.